is The Magnet.
Hello, you're welcome to this week's edition of The Magnets. The Magnets parades professionals, business moguls, and mentors from diverse fields. We're going to be talking sports medicine today. Ever heard of it? Or not common in our clime? We have an Amazon in the house, possibly a foremost, if not the first, sports medicine doctor in Nigeria who is globally recognized. Let's give you a profile. When we come back to be an interactive session, let's have a peep into her world. Magnets will be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Princess Dr. Nana Yesuful is one of the foremost professional and business ladies that Nigeria feels very proud of. Born in Benin City, Dr. Nana hails from the Yesuful royal family of Agbede in Esako West local government area of Edo State. As a child, Dr. Nana Yesuful grew up with her parents in Geneva, Switzerland, where her father, Professor Tijani M. Yesuful, was then of the International Labour Organization. When it was time for her formal education, Dr. Nana Yesuful came back home and attended the prestigious private Corona and the St. Saviour's School, both in Ikoyi, Lagos. She then entered Queen's College, also in Lagos, finishing with a Grade 1 WASC West Africa School Certificate. She went to Britain for her A-levels and passed with distinction and was admitted to the prestigious and then the best medical school at the University of Ibadan, where she obtained the medical degree of MBBS. But not satisfied to be a general medical practitioner and ever in search of new opportunities to excel, Dr. Nana Yesuful proceeded again to Britain and studied further at the Royal London Hospital Medical College of the University of London, where she emerged as the first Nigerian with full postgraduate medical qualifications in sports medicine. Returning to Nigeria, Nana joined the National Sports Commission, where she rose to be the very young director of the medical division from 1982 to 1985. Among other assignments, Dr. Yesuful served as team doctor with the Nigerian contingent to the Los Angeles Olympics in 1984. Also, team doctor to the Super Eagles on many occasions to China, Tunisia, Ghana, and a host of other competitions. She was the first doctor to work out a scientific nutritional menu for Nigerian boxers and footballers in 1984. She worked with the Nigerian Airways, where she practiced and served as the medical doctor in charge of the airline's family clinic, covering Kaduna, Zaria, and Minna from 1985 to 1989. In pursuit of greater self-fulfillment and satisfaction as a pioneer, Dr. Nana Yesuful set up her own medical practice, the Nafat Health Gardens with Fitness Spa, located in Lagos and Benin City. She is the founder, chairperson, and chief executive of NAN International Limited and Nafat Ventures. In the year 2000, she attended Lagos Business School to sharpen her business acumen on a course for women in management of small and medium scale in industries. She has made 2 publications of significance, a health education book, Sex, Fitness, and Heart Disease, and the second book titled The Role of Vitamin E on Physical Performance. On the philanthropic scale, Dr. Yesuful feels she must give back to the society and is also a member of the NGO Landmark Pressure Group, an NGO dedicated to assisting any group in need of help in the community. Trying to identify with her roots, she is a member of Esako Club 81, a club of elite and professionals from Esako LGA of Edo State, residents in Lagos State, making a difference back home. Princess Dr. Nana Yesuful is a family woman married with 4 children, whom she dedicates her precious love and time to, while unfolding her medical clinic with the latest technologies. Dr. Nana Yesuful has received various awards, including the Woman of Merit Gold Award, and also was inducted into the Commonwealth Business Network.
You're welcome back. This is The Magnets. You have seen the short profile of our Amazon and our magnet for the week. We call it Mentoring on Television. We are said to be mentored and how you can keep fit. Sports medicine that is in focus today. And join us as we welcome Dr. Nana Yesuful, the MD CEO of Health and Fitness Clinics Limited. You're welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
What exactly is sports medicine?
Sports medicine is a postgraduate medical specialist for doctors only to take care, treat, and potentiate the physical fitness of both sportsmen and the general population. It also includes treatment of injuries and exercise science and physiology.
What informs, first of all, going into medical practice or medical training?
In our time, once you have the prerequisite qualifications and grades in physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics, you more or less have admission into medical schools. And once you have the admission, you are more or less railroaded into going into medicine. It's not so stiff in that once you are in medicine and you are qualified, there's a wide array of specialties you can choose from. So, more or less, I did my A-levels in the United Kingdom. I had the prerequisite grades, and I was admitted by the foremost University of Ibadan, for my medical first degree.
What informed you going into sports medicine?
Well, after my youth corps and my post-youth service training, housemanship, yes, senior housemanship, I was now working in the orthopedics unit of the military hospital.
Okay.
And my consultant then wanted me to do orthopedics, which I didn't want to at all, orthopedics surgery. And he now made a suggestion that why don't I go into medicine for sports? So I went to research it, and I found that it would be quite interesting, more than the bedside medicine we were practicing.
Okay.
So that made me, apply for it, and I was accepted.
Okay. Why do you think he suggested it? Is it that there was a gap? There was nobody in that, has he done some form of research to discover the need before he made the recommendation to you?
Yes, there was definitely a huge gap because there was nobody specialized in that field. There were doctors who were working, treating sportsmen just as they would treat any general practice condition. But to be specialized in the exercise physiology and science and the different injuries for each sport, in Nigeria alone, at that time, we had 20 different sports associations, and you must be conversant in all the different injuries.
Okay, so having studied a course, obviously abroad, because we don't have such facility or such a knowledge shared here in Nigeria, why couldn't you continue practicing abroad? You still came back to Nigeria to come and add value. And of course, the only possible place would have been the National Sports Commission. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. Well, I did the course. It was a new course. In fact, we were the first set in the world.
Wow.
Yes, to do that as a postgraduate medical training. And they used to call us the United Nations because we had a doctor from about 15 different countries: Nigeria, Uganda, Bermuda, Oman, New Zealand, Australia, and so on and so forth, because these gaps were in all these countries. And it was noticed that once you have sports medicine and science in a country, the sportsmen are treated, they are trained in a scientific method. They are even their nutrition. And with that, you have better sports performance.
All right, so as a lady, treating both men and women as it were, and then being the first in that kind of profession, how did you feel? How joyous were you to add value and to make your performance
Well, at first I was a bit naive because when in medical school, there's nothing like female and male. All medicine is medicine. All diseases are diseases. You understand? Unless you start going into gynecology or obstetrics. But when you enter into sports medicine, there was a little bit of hesitancy on the parts of the sportsmen and the administrators. They might think, oh, we don't want a lady in our, changing room. And I'll tell them that there's nothing such as lady or not lady. Training takes care of everything, your whole body, and all doctors are trained with all people. So it's not a matter of segregation. There's nothing like that.
Okay.
But one thing I noticed, after the first few minutes or hours of hesitancy, and you tell them the right thing and it works, they really want to embrace you immediately. Because they're like a magician, yes.
Is the magnet.
What impact do you think why they had on our performance in competitive sports?
On competitive sports, to me, without sports science and medicine, you can't really go into the world arena and make any input. Because your training, your nutrition, what you eat, the proper treatment of your injuries, your rehabilitation. In other words, after injury, how do you make, the limbs of the person, work? You see abroad, you hear them say, I had a knee injury, and in 6 weeks' time, he'll be okay. If here, 3 weeks, you are pushing him back onto the turf,
Okay.
how is he going to compete with other people? If a weightlifter is eating the same food as a marathon runner while they are in camp, how is it going to work? You understand? So all these differences have to be made with scientific knowledge.
So you are saying that a sports medicine doctor is a specialist that should know virtually everything: a nutritionist, a physical health therapist, a scientist, and
Yes.
possibly a physiologist.
Yes. And a sports injury trainer,
Okay.
and is a preventive sports medicine with all the preventive mouth guards, nose guards, head guards, chest guards, chin guards. You must know everything to do with a sportsman.
Okay. Can you recall some memorable moments that you think your being there as a sports medicine practitioner, any value addition in terms of your past competitive sports that Nigerians are engaged in?
I remember when I got in, the first international sports meeting I went to was in Finland, in Helsinki. It was the World Athletics Championships. Usually, you put them in camp before the games. And I tried my best to do menus for them and correct them in trainings and
Some habits.
yes, treat some of the injuries they had and weed out the people that I knew were not going to make any value.
Impact.
Yes, and on that sports outing, I think we had some bronze. We had
Medals.
some bronze medals.
Hmm.
Also, there are some, what will I call it, beliefs at that time that sportsmen had. That I explained to them how it acts in their body, and then there is a dip, and at that dip, they really don't do well. So there were so many things, but once you tell them, they are always very happy. The coaches, the trainers,
Okay.
they were always very happy to, embrace the new information.
Okay. I recall there was, I think I was young in service then in the 80s, early 80s, when we had the quartet of Ebunike and the, were you
Yes.
there then? I mean,
Yes.
did that have any impact, have
Yes.
any impact on your?
I was. And also for the 1984 Olympics,
Okay.
we also had a camping for them, especially boxers and weightlifters. I remember we had a silver medal then. because again, when they were in camp, I had to screen them to make sure that they had no, common, infectious diseases that they will carry along with them. Simple things might be like malaria and so on. And then after that, you now give them an intensive, training advice to the coaches. Okay? And then with all those things done as a baseline, they were in a very good stead to have a good performance. And as I said, they had bronze and silver medals in that
competition.
outing. Yes.
Let me congratulate you for what you have done for the value addition. We're still
you.
chatting with Dr. Nana Yesufu, and an Amazon, a sports medicine practitioner. She's long retired, but she has not forgotten her first love, as it were. And she's still very much ensuring that you are physically fit. Let's go for a short break. When we come back, she'll be sharing with us how she's making people physically fit. We'll be back shortly.
Is the magnet.
The program is The Magnet. We're still chatting with Dr. Nana Yesufu, a sports medicine practitioner. She has since retired from National Sports Commission. She actually had a stint with the Aviation Ministry. She didn't tell us about that. The program. Now, tell us, before we go into what you do now.
Yes.
What was it like being in the Aviation Ministry? Were you there as a sports person too, or it was before you crossed over to doing this sports medicine?
Well, I did the sports, the National Sports Commission, due to the incessant traveling, short notices, going all over the world and so on. When I got married, we decided that I would sit down and do some general practice, which I did in the Aviation Ministry, then Nigeria Airways.
Yes.
I worked in the medical department as a family and staff doctor, and I was in charge of the medical center in Kaduna, which also covered MENA. After that, when Nigeria Airways, reorganized the staffing, I came back and set up my own, private sports medicine center.
Okay, that's where we are going to now. You are ensuring that you could see, the ambience says it all. We are inside all the different tools used for. So, is it because, yes, of course, they say you are retired but not tired. How is it like coming from the public sector and ensuring that people are physically fit to be sure that diseases are kept away?
It's very, very satisfying because when you are on your own, the equipment needed by your patients and your clients, and then you can recommend it to them and follow them to the logical conclusion. So, very satisfying.
Okay. You know why I'm saying that? Beyond my own personal experience, which I whispered to you earlier, it's really a bit difficult for people to obey the use of these tools, particularly on their own. How are you able to ensure that people use these tools? What you find people doing most time is maybe going for physical work in estates and things like that. But to comply with a tool like treadmill, for instance, people say it's too, you easily get tired and all that. What has been your experience in this line?
Well, exercise has exercise medicine, and there's a recreational part of exercise. Recreational exercise is do it at your will and how you will. Exercise medicine is for people who have medical conditions, and exercise is needed to take care and treat those medical conditions. Now, people with medical conditions such as hypertension, they've had a stroke, asthma in medicine, obesity, diabetes, and so many other conditions, almost, every condition. And their doctor tells them, do some exercise. Then we get to what we call the specificity of exercise. So you find that Mr. A, who had a stroke 2 years ago, is not going to do the same exercise as Mrs. B, who had a cesarean section 3 months ago. So they need to actually, in every exercise program, you find that it's like smoking. You find the little, advice. See your doctor before you do this, And it is a very good advice that most people feel if they're healthy, why should they? Mm-hmm. But the ones that are not healthy, they don't find it difficult to follow your program because they know it's going to potentiate their health. They get the results in a graduated way so that they don't really feel, dissatisfied. But if you're doing it on a recreational level, I just want to walk around my estate. Yes, leisure.
Okay.
They don't have anything to really push them to say, go ahead.
It's interesting that you brought that up because most people, even when they get these advisory notes from their doctors, how compliant, based on, you have a clinic, you are still running the sports medicine clinic for the category of people you have talked about. How compliant are Nigerians? Now, we look at it from the economic aspects, denial aspects, and so many other reasons. You see them.
Well, I always say if you go through me, you must be compliant. Because, you see, if you explain the indications for them to do those particular exercises or fitness programs, nobody will self-destruct. They will do it. In medicine, we always say acceptability, availability, and so on. So you must put it in a way that it will be acceptable, available. There's no need telling somebody to run on a treadmill when he cannot afford one, or the next treadmill is 20 miles away from his house. So packaging an exercise and fitness program
that suits
and has results. Because again, is very important. And when you do that, I'm yet to see somebody who didn't comply.
You run this gym and then you practice your sports medicine. Obviously, that's not all you do. I'm sure this program is called Mentoring on Television. I'm sure you mentor some people. You serve as consultant to, I know, 1 or 2 other places where you tell me, no, I have to give a lecture somewhere, share with us.
Well, this gym, as you see, is actually a rehabilitative center. For instance, if you have a heart condition, we can put you on a machine and monitor what should be your maximum heart rate for your age. That is what we call exercise prescription after the echoes and so on have been done. You realize your doctor says, oh, go and exercise.
Dr. Nana Yesufu, finally, ma'am, you have been in this profession for decades now. You have enjoyed it thoroughly. What's your counsel for somebody just watched now? Say, oh, she's my role model. Let me find out if I can also study this aspect of medicine.
My counsel for your keep fit needs normally is a screening process. The screening is like a questionnaire. When you answer the questionnaire, you can know what the person needs. It's what we call a PAR-Q test, Physical Activities Readiness Questionnaire. Okay? Anybody else who wants to go into this profession really has to train for it. Because in medicine, there's nothing like
Shortcuts.
There's no shortcuts. You have to train.
Dr. Nana Yesufu, our sports medicine practitioner, she's been our guest on the program. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
finally obliging to be our guest.
Thank you for having me.
That's how it's been on the Magnet today. We've taken 1 or 2 tips. Just to ensure you carry out that PAR test. What she has said. Identify what your sports medicine needs is. Physically keep fit to send away all manner of diseases. And of course, the only other thing you need to do is to make a date with us same time next week. We shall bring you a fresh edition of this program. It's been the Magnet, mentoring on television and lending a voice to the growth of our business. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. Until then, bye-bye.